Machozi yamenijaa usoni, moyo wangu umevunjika vipande. Safari hii ni ngumu mno, lakini najua wewe upo karibu. Bwana, wewe ni tumaini langu katika giza. Wewe ni mwanga wangu, nikipotea utanionyesha njia. Machozi yangu yabadiliwe kwa furaha.
Hello viewer, hello listener, hello my friend. Welcome to BYM. BYM is a home. BYM is a place where you find inspiration, where you find hope that was lost. BYM is a channel that is just dedicated not for me, it is dedicated for you. And I want to welcome you to this first episode by telling you that wherever you are at home. BYM is where you feel all of your burdens can be laid off. And this, I know most of the times maybe you'll find me on other channels entertaining you, having fun, but when you come to BYM is where we talk, is where we say about real issues of life. It is where we outcast or we bring out our emotions. And on that note, I don't know maybe where you're watching from. Maybe it is at night, maybe it's in the morning, maybe it's at noon, maybe it's in the middle of the night. But I want to make you understand that being at BYM, you are at home. BYM is a place that you can just listen, cry, let it out, laugh sometimes. But I just want to give you a chance to feel at home by being a member of BYM. And without much ado, I want to dive into my first moment and my first episode of BYM. And the topic of today is grief. I know grief is a word that you've heard before. Grief is a word that you have spelt before. Grief is a word that is not peculiar or new to you. But today I just want to take a moment and talk about grief. So, for me, what is grief? For me, grief is the price we pay for the love we give. Grief is the price we pay for the love we experience. I remember the day, the time, the date, the year. It is July 22 in the morning, 5 a.m. I get a call from my brother and he tells me, bro, sioni dada akimeka. I was asleep. I thought I was dreaming. I was like, what have you just said? He tells me, bro, dada amelemewa. For a moment, silence kicked in. And he repeated the words, bro, sioni dada akimeka. And then he akakata simu. At once I felt like my world had come to a stop. I didn't know what to do. But one thing that I remember clearly, back the moment I was talking to my brother, I could hear my dad groaning, my dad growing, my dad moaning. I could hear my dad in the behind. Nilikuwa nasikia dad uko nyuma akisema, oh God. Then he takes a deep breath. Oh God. I called God and I told God, it is not yet time. I made a very short prayer for 5 seconds. God, it is not yet time. That morning, I prayed. 5 minutes later, my brother calls me again and tells me, bro, it is done. That is normal. And there is when I realized that I've lost a friend. I have lost the only man who wanted to see me better than him. It was a morning that I remember every second. And that is when it kicked me that I have experienced grief at first hand. That is when I felt like grief had knocked at my door. Grief is when you lose someone and you feel the whole world is depopulated. Grief is when you experience something that we have never experienced before. And let me tell you, my friend, my brother, my sister, grief is something that you experience for the first time and your life totally changed. Grief is something that it takes a toll on you. But you know what? When you experience grief, the world doesn't change, you change. There are a lot of forms of grief that people experience. I want to talk about a story. That was me, how I experienced grief. But I want to talk about a story about a young man. Again, it is years back. This young man is out there anachunga kondoo. This young man is out there. Saa 9 jioni ndio huyo anapeleka kondoo. From a distance, a discussion comes up among his brothers and they say, this young brother of ours has made our life so difficult because our father loves him more. This young man has made our life so hard. And one of the brothers says, why don't we throw him? Why don't we sell him away? At that moment, they have not experienced grief. And what do? They tie their brother. I don't know how they were feeling that moment. I don't know that moment. Did they understand what grief is? Did they understand that grief is something that when they're tying their brother, wanamfunga, wamrushe kwa shimo? My friend, I'm talking about the story of Joseph in the Bible. Joseph, a young man, alikuwa anachunga kondoo. His brothers, they sit and say, you know what? That young man has made our life so difficult because what? Our father loves him more. And you know what they do? They tie him and throw him in a hole. My question to them is, do they know what grief can do? Do they know the power of losing someone? Do they know that grief is the unspent love that we experience? That love that you wanted to show someone and you cannot do it again. That love that you have to swallow it down your throat. When they're in that moment, wanamfunga, Joseph asked them, you are my brothers. What are you doing? What have I done wrong? And that is when Joseph realized that the only mistake Joseph did is being loved by his father. But the brothers, my question to Joseph's brother is, do they know what grief can do to them? They're going to lose that one blood brother they have. But at that moment, they don't know what grief can do. Just like me that morning when I lost my dad, it is my first time experiencing grief, losing someone I love. I didn't know what to do. I'm confused. But these brothers, they're throwing their only brother just because their father loves him more. And they feel if we throw this person away, our life gonna be different. But they don't consider how is grief going to affect our father. How is our father going to feel losing the only son that he loved? To them, grief has not kicked in. And that is when I say that grief is something that when you experience it, it's not going to go away. Brothers of Joseph wamechukua Joseph wamemrusha kwa shimo. I can imagine what is going through Joseph's mind akiwa kwa hiyo shimo. But grief start playing its part. And you know the first person it attacks Judah, if I'm not wrong, the brother of Joseph. He feels like, no. Instead of leaving him there alone, let us take this brother and sell him away. It is called a distance grief. And I feel, let's throw this brother away. It is better nijuange brother yangu ako somewhere away, a country called Egypt. Let me sell my brother there, nijuange. Let me experience grief from a distance. And that is when you find you might be in a relationship and sometimes you lose someone, or someone tells you, you know what, I want a divorce. And let me tell you, my brother, if mtu akupendi, if someone have decided, see wewe, my friend, it is not you. Sometimes we let people in our hearts, sometimes we let people in our lives, and they create a space that cannot be filled with anyone, a space that cannot be filled with our parents or relatives. It's a space that they create a space that we don't know how to handle it. But do you know what fills that space? It is called grief. Grief is something different, and the painful truth is grief is not going to go away. It is here to stay with us. I know maybe you're sitting there, you're wondering, what is this person talking about grief? Maybe you've never experienced grief, but I want to tell you, maybe if you're in a family of 5, you're in a family of 10, there is a day we will leave this world, and maybe you're gonna be the last person to bury your relative. That is when you utakuwa experience the power of grief. Joseph's brothers wanamsell away, so naweza imagine wamemfunga, wanamsell away, wanamrusha away, wanaona nduyo anaenda, kama ni barabara nduyo ameenda. Do they ask themselves what the price they've paid to accept grief? If I ever meet them in heaven, I will ask them, did you experience sadness? Did you experience grief at that moment, seeing your only brother being taken away with strangers? And that brings me to another situation of grief. You're there, you have a girlfriend, you have a wife, and he wakes up and tells you, you know what, I'm no longer interested in this relationship. I have to go away. That is when you feel the world is not adding up. You have experienced a marriage of maybe 23 years. You're there in a marriage of 20 years, 10 years, or a relationship that has stayed even a week or even a month. But this person tells you, you know what, I'm no longer happy with you. I have to go. That is when you feel like grief is an experience that we feel. An experience that doesn't change the world, but changes us. This person walks away in your life and they don't look back. And the best thing you can do, it is to fill the space they have created with grief. The best thing I can tell you today is grief is going nowhere. The best thing to do is to learn how to stay with grief. I know you're out there wondering, will this situation come out? Will I learn how to live and accept the situation that I'm in? Let me tell you, there is no learning. There is no, at one day you will wake up and think, okay, no. Grief is something that you carry. Grief is that friend that you walk with, is that shadow that always in your life. We experience grief through songs. There is a song you can sit na usikize useme, nakumbuka huo msee. Grief is that memory that will always come with, I wish ningedu, I wish ninge, but it is not going, haiendi place, itakaa na wewe. And the best thing you can do about grief is to learn. And the best place you can learn is to know that there is someone in heaven mwenye aliplan your first day and your last day. Na umse ukimpelekea all of your burdens, umse ukikaa chini umwambie, niaje God, I don't know how to experience this without you. He's gonna teach you how to live with grief. As I end our first episode, I want to talk to someone there who is heartbroken when you lose someone through death, lose someone through divorce, and tell you it's not going to get any better. Me, I've seen relatives who grief has really destroyed them. I've seen friends who grief has taken a toll on them. And their life never remained the same. So today, as I end up this podcast, I want to end telling you that grief is something that it is here with us to stay. But the earlier the better we learn how to stay with it, the earlier the better we accept it. The earlier the better we learn, let's spend most of our time showing love to those people we exist with. Kama uko na dem, kama uko na wife, uko na nani, instead of spending more time being silent on each other, spend more time having fun. Because when grief kicks in, my friend, all that unspent love you have, you're gonna swallow it. And the funny thing, the unspent love you cannot give it to any other person is to that person. So I'm just here to tell you, grief is going nowhere. Grief is here to stay with us, and the best way we can learn is to learn to live with grief. My last take to you is, as you make your daily decisions, just like the Joseph brothers only make decision you could sell their brother, ask yourself, how is grief gonna touch me? In my next episode, I'm gonna talk so specific on how grief nearly changed some people's life, how grief can rob you your life, and how grief can make your world become hell. I hope you've gotten something. I hope as this podcast ends our first episode, we have come to understand that grief is something that we will stay with. I want to talk to someone there and say, if Joseph brothers, imagine your moment, wanamwekelea, wanampeana, wanabaki, do they ask themselves the question that I will meet God and still ask them, God, or even get a chance to meet those brothers? I will ask them, when you're selling your only brother Joseph, did you experience grief? Did you feel like we are doing this thing to hurt our only father? Did you consider your father the man who loved this son? Grief is something that is not going anywhere. And I want to encourage someone there and say, acceptance. Accept that grief is here with us, and accepting to live with it is something that we have to do. I hope I've touched someone. And on my next episode, we're going to explore more on how grief can take a toll on us. But one thing I want you to take home today is, no matter the pain, no matter the pressure, grief is here with us. In my next episode, we're going to learn, how do we not let grief take away whatever we have gained? How do we live with it? I hope I've touched someone's life, and I hope I've changed someone's life. This is BYM. See you on my next episode.
Machozi yamenijaa usoni, moyo wangu umevunjika vipande. Safari hii ni ngumu mno, lakini najua wewe upo karibu. Bwana, wewe ni tumaini langu katika giza. Wewe ni mwanga wangu, nikipotea utanionyesha njia. Machozi yangu yabadiliwe kwa furaha. Nilipopoteza niliyowapenda, nilihisi peke yangu gizani, lakini sauti yako inanitia nguvu kwamba kifo si mwisho tena. Bwana, wewe ni tumaini langu machozi yangu yabadiliwe kwa furaha. Kwa mikono yako najikabidhi roho